All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a huge shift that's happening in our careers, and it's all because of AI. The question isn't if things are going to change, it's about how we adapt and, actually build a more exciting career because of it. So where does this all start?
Well, it starts with a pretty stark observation from Silicon Valley. This quote gets right to the heart of it. Now, when it says cards, it's talking about AI computing power, like graphics cards. What it's really saying is that for a growing number of companies, investing in more AI is starting to make more financial sense than hiring people for certain kinds of jobs. That's the core economic reality we have to wrap our heads around.
And that shift in economics, it's signaling something much, much bigger. We're not just looking at another tech trend here. We might actually be witnessing the end of a golden age for a very specific kind of professional. A role that, let's be honest, many of us have spent our entire careers getting really, really good at.
To really get why this time feels so different, it helps to look back. Think about it. The Industrial Revolution automated parts of physical jobs. Then the Computer Revolution came along and automated parts of our mental jobs, like number crunching. But in both cases, a human was still totally essential to run the show. The AI revolution is a whole new ballgame. We're talking about the potential for full automation, systems that can handle entire workflows from beginning to end.
For decades, this right here was the ticket to a great career. You became the master of Photoshop, or you were an Excel wizard, or you knew one programming language inside and out. You were the tool person. You were a reliable, critical screw in a big, complex machine. You waited for your assignment, you did it flawlessly, and you were rewarded for that expertise. But that whole way of working, it's starting to break down.
And as that old model starts to crack, it leaves us with a very clear choice. It's like a fork in the road for our careers. And honestly, the path you decide to take right now is probably going to define everything that comes next.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got the tool person. They're a passive executor. They wait for tasks. But look at the right, the AI master. They are an active commander. They don't wait for tasks, they go out and find the problems. They're not a master of one tool, they're a strategist who uses all the tools. It's a huge shift from being a resource that gets used up to becoming the manager of resources, telling the AI what needs to get done.
So you kind of have to ask yourself this question, and you've got to be honest about it. Because in this new world, just standing still and doing what you've always done, that's not a safe bet anymore. Standing still is, by default, a decision to stay on the path of the tooled person. And that's a path that is quickly becoming obsolete.
Okay, so if you decide you want to be on the path of the AI master, what's the game plan? How do you actually get there? Well, the strategy we're looking at today is something called vibe coding.
Now hang on, don't let that word coding throw you off. This has nothing to do with becoming a full-time software engineer. Think of vibe coding as a method for anyone, and I mean anyone, to direct AI using plain English, some logic, and maybe a little bit of simple code here and there to solve problems that actually matter to you. You become the director, not just an actor reading lines.
So how can you put this into practice, like today? Well, there are a few really concrete ways in. You could start small. Just use a really precise AI prompt to crack a single tough problem you're facing. Or you could go a step further and automate some boring, repetitive workflow that just sucks up your time every single week. Eventually, you could even build a little app to fix some recurring frustration for good. The point is, you just have to start solving something. And this is absolutely critical. Playing around with an AI to make a funny picture of your cat isn't vibe coding. This is about finding a problem that you have a desperate, I'm stuck on a desert island and need to build a raft kind of need to solve. That genuine urgency is the secret sauce. It forces you to get your hands dirty, to struggle, and to really truly learn how to command these AIs to create something of real value.
Now here's what's so fascinating about all this. The biggest hurdle, it isn't technical. It's not about learning some new programming language or mastering prompt engineering. The biggest challenge for almost all of us is psychological. It's about unlearning a way of thinking that's been hammered into us our entire careers.
This one sentence right here, it captures the entire mental flip you have to make. For decades, the career advice was simple. Become an expert in a tool first, a piece of software, a skill, and then go look for a job where you can use it. That model is now completely broken.
And you can see how it's completely reversed here. The old way, on the left, you focused on the tool, then hope to find a problem. The new way flips it on its head. You start with the problem, you get absolutely obsessed with it, and then you command AI or any other tool you need to build the solution. Your value is no longer in your tool expertise, it's in your ability to define and solve valuable problems.
So these are the mental roadblocks we have to smash through. It's that cozy comfort of just waiting for someone to give you your next task. It's the trap of doing those little 3-minute AI tricks that feel productive but don't actually solve a real problem. And maybe the toughest one of all, letting go of the identity we've built as the expert in just one single thing.
So let's bring this all together. What is the one thing, the single most urgent takeaway that you need to act on right now?
Here it is, the bottom line, the massive advantage that you can get right now by learning how to command AI, it won't last forever. We are in a short transitional period where people who move fast and learn this new way of working can create a huge lead for themselves, but that window is closing.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on. If you look at your job, at your work, and you think to yourself, I don't really have any problems to solve, what if that belief is the single biggest problem you have? It could be a giant red flag that you've gotten too comfortable just being a passive executor. Because in the AI era, finding the problem, that is the real work, and your entire future value depends on it. The move is yours.